this morning to your constituency by road, you get there by...
You need 4 hours to Kumasi, 6 hours from Kumasi to Tamale. And then, if you have a strong vehicle, 2 hours to Saboba from Tamale.
So probably get there at 8:30 p.m. if you leave this morning. So it means you have to fly to Tamale and then go by road.
Some 2 hours.
It means that MPs from the north and from the hinterlands, it's more difficult for you to be in touch. Because if I'm MP for Ningo Pram Pram, I can just go every day and I live there. So every day I'm meeting people. So you have to go. Do you go every week?
No, not every week. You can't do that. If you have only one day, you will not be able to go.
You need at least 3 days.
2 to 3 days. That is if you can fast track your activities.
Wow. And you've done this for 16 years. So this is your 4th term.
Yes. So at times you have to skip some weeks and then maybe once in a month or maybe twice in a month so that you'll be able to have that time.
And now you're adding that to being Minister for Transport, which has, I think, about, from the last time I checked, it has rail, it has road, it has air, it has port, and water transport. That's about 5 subsectors.
We have 4 modes of transport.
In Ghana?
That is rail, road, air, that is aviation, and then the road sector services transport.
Wow. So what is your vision for the ministry? What's your plan?
Well, Bernard, let me once again thank you for this opportunity and again say that all of us in government, we ride on the vision of His Excellency the President, which within the transport sector, our vision, our aim is to have that kind of integrated multipurpose modal transport that will be able to ease up congestion on our routes, that will be able to facilitate trade and tourism, and that will be efficient and effective in the daily service delivery to our people. So our aim is to have that kind of safe, affordable, and efficient transport system for the country.
Do you think we have the right mix in terms of emphasis? It seems to me, when I listen to our callers, that road is the dominant mode and road is the most common. So if you talk of a mix, it doesn't seem very balanced.
Yes, that's true. Over the years, roads have been our backbone, the backbone to our economy. And that is because it is the primary mode of transport that we have over-relied on to the detriment or to the neglect of the other modes. And so our vision, His Excellency's vision, is to see how we can integrate the 4 modes and then make travel easy or seamless for people. The aviation sector, people say, though it is expensive, but it is one of the fastest you can have. It depends on your purpose. Assuming you have a meeting that will bring you a lot of good in Tamale, and you will have to take about 10 hours, you will probably want to use 1 hour to be in Tamale and attend to your meeting. But we are looking at how to improve upon the services of the rest of the modes. For instance, the rail, and then the coastal and inland water transport services. That will create that kind of integrated movement. So you can use one to a point and continue. Like if I'm going to my constituency, I'll fly to Tamale and drive to Saboba. That is a kind of mixture or a multimodal transport travel.
So where will you emphasize of the 4? Obviously roads, because there's a road minister who has to make the road infrastructure available. Your job is mostly the vehicles and the mobility on the road. But in terms of something like rail, where are we in your plan? Do you have a percentage in mind? So if, for example, you wanted to develop X kilometer of rail, would you say you are this percentage in accomplishing your rail development or that type of thing?
Rail used to be one of the most effective means of travel in those days. But for long neglect, the rail system is not that effective. And we have a master plan on rail transport. We are looking at the Western Corridor, the Eastern and the Central Corridors. Now, our emphasis is on the Western because of the kind of mineral resources we have and the companies that are mining in the Western region. You know, the cost involved in rail system. And so you will need a kind of investment that will bring returns. And we are putting much emphasis on the Western all the contractors that were engaged on the Western Rail Line from Takoradi through to Kumasi, they all abandoned site. But with negotiations and talks, some of them have resumed work, and we are looking at how to sustain them in the daily discharge of the activities and get to the completion rate of our contracts.
I think a week or two ago, some rail workers under the TUC were not happy. They said their salary arrests are not being paid. I think they were even planning to do some demonstration over what they call unresolved labor concerns. Is that under you or under the Ministry of Labor?
It's under my ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say that we feel for our rail workers. The company is run down, and so virtually there's no any activity going on. So they are supposed to work, generate income, pay themselves, and pay dividends to the state. Now that the rail is not functioning, meaning there's no any work for them. That is why I have that kind of feeling for them. But let me assure them that we have gotten to a point where very soon they will soon receive some kind of salary from us. We have engaged with the Minister of Finance, and again, I have put up a 3-member committee to see how we are raising money internally to be able to support some payments for them. But we feel their pain, and we will have to speed up our processes in getting their payments for them. So Bernard, they are under my ministry, and we are working on
I think yesterday the Tema and Pakadan did their first journey. I think it was a symbolic journey. I don't know if you're on at all. Is the Mampakadan supposed to be for passenger or cargo?
Bernard, I was on the ride yesterday, and
oh, you were there when the guy pulled that in?
Not really. I had left.
you had left before he did that thing. Yes. Okay.
We had done the way to the Tema port.
Okay.
Where I had to come to the office to attend to other needs. It was later I got the information that one of our passengers mistakenly pulled the emergency brakes. But it was a nice ride, and the rail is the way to go. You've asked whether it is for passenger or for cargo. They go together. I mean, if you have your bag, it's cargo.
No, but you're talking about heavy duty exports of things.
Definitely, we are just starting the operations. And yesterday I was telling them that one of the areas should be for cargo. You see that this is a very nicely refurbished train. And so if we allow any cargo within the cabin, we will soon destroy it. So we'll condemn one cabins that will be specifically for cargo, so that any passenger that has cargo will be rest assured that yourself and your goods will get to your
destination. How was the ride, and what was the route like? How quick was it? Because you know there's a lot of road traffic. If you're driving from Accra to Atimpoku or Adomi Bridge area, you will go through a lot of traffic. So I know you didn't reach Akosombo, but at least the part you used, how smooth was it, and how easy was the journey?
Very fast and smooth. Let me say that that is the reason why the rail should come in, to help us decongest our roads because of these traffic congestions that we experience on a daily basis. So sitting in that train was one of the experiences I had, and thinking, how fast are we going to get the needed resources such that the other planned rail constructions will take effect quickly, that our people can travel in comfort. This is a system that there's no any traffic that will slow your speed till you get to where you want to stop or your destination. So it is one of the most quick and fast mode of transport.
You mentioned that the Western Corridor will be the priority because of the mining. Some could also argue that by way of integrating all the 4 modes, the Eastern Corridor provides the biggest opportunity, in the sense that you have a Tema port, you have the Mpakadan, then you have the Volta Lake, and then you have Tamale, which could serve as an airport for flying cargo to the Sahel region. So if you're looking for an integrated transportation system, arguably the Eastern Corridor provides a better chance than the Western. I don't know what you make of that, and whether your railway master plan is integrated into a national transportation plan that has all the 4 modes.
Definitely. If you even talk of the Western Rail Line, it also connects from the Takoradi port through Kumasi, and the Bukari Inland Logistics Terminal will also serve as an inland port. And if you take the central or the eastern, that is from the Tama port through Mpakadan to Bupe, it's also a multimodal system. So that if you go with the rail to Mpakadan, then you use the barges, that is the water lake transport to Bupe, and then you use road transport from Bupe through Tamale to our landlocked countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. And so all of them come with the same purpose. What we need now is the needed resources to be able to.
And where is that money going to come from?
Well, as a government, we are looking at how we can get some BOT system. Assuming you are an investor, the private sector, you can come in to invest with us. But we are also looking at other alternative system of arrangement in raising funds. I am privy to some of these discussions, but at this early days, I will want to hold on and see how we can fast track things and then get them out to be announced by the appropriate personality.
The ports are under you, correct?
Yes, please.
There's been complaint, at least in the first few months of this government, about the demurrage that not just cargo companies, but even oil lifters were experiencing. They were complaining about the efficiency of the port. I think it was around April, May, June. Have you been to the port since you took over? And what's the state of the port by way of the throughput and efficiency?
Bernard, our port is one of the ports in the West Africa that is delivering quality services to our people. And that's why we are blessed to have our landlocked countries like Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger trying on daily basis to use our facilities. Before we took over, there was a lot of backlog of cargo at the port. What we did was to quickly see how we can decongest the port by getting out all this cargo. And so if you get to the Tama port today, instead of cargo waiting, we have our personnel waiting for cargo, such that it can quickly be cleared, and then the shipping agents will be able to clear their goods on time. Now, if you ask of demurrage, it is when your goods stays for long and you are not able to clear. That is why at the end you face these demurrage charges and other things. But because we are now taking out the goods on time, there's no anything that will have to create any demurrage for you. For instance, we had this congestion on the excavators that were left in the port. You remember?
Yes.
Some weeks ago.
We are told there were so many excavators that had to be kept at the port because there was no space.
Yes, we had to decongest the port. By taking them off, we had some backlash from media that we were clearing them in the night for people. No, we were rather keeping them at the military installations for safekeeping in order to decongest our ports so that there can be that quick and fast clearing of goods at our ports. So for now, especially
so when port users complain of the incomes or the ICOMs being slow, is that your fault or is the SEPs? Have you heard complaints about the slow pace? And there's also some sort of dispute between freight forwarders and shipping lines over charges and stuff like this. Is it really under your remit?
Bernard, not necessarily whether it is under my remit or not, but it also contributes to the delays at the port, which is under my supervision. Now, technology at times gets mixed up when you have a lot on it. The ICOMs that is operated by the SEPs or the customs runs under the Ministry of Finance. Mm-hmm. However, we at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Ghana Maritime Authority, and Ghana Shippers Authority, we are looking at integrating our systems with the ICOMs so that we'll have a single payment point. And anybody who wants to do business at the port will have a one-stop payment, so that if you have to pay services to Shippers Authority, the Maritime Authority, and then the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, you have a one-stop payment point, which will be integrated with the ICOMs and facilitate movement quickly. And so that lies under the Ministry of Finance, that is the customs. But we are all working, we are concerned because it is our facility. We are supposed to have a kind of friendly business-like activities in the port. So we are working closely with them to improve upon the system. There are softwares that would need upgrades at times, and I am aware the customs are also doing their best to improve upon those.
But there were some disagreements between port operators and the shipping lines. I don't know if that has come to your attention. I think they even have a court case, and the shipping authority had to even make some pronouncement. I think it's like a month ago, in relation to what they call unfair charges by the shipping lines. Has it been brought to your attention?
Yes, you will realize that these days I've been on the move to ensure that we get the Ghana Shippers Authority Act amended. That will give the Ghana Shippers Authority the mandate to be able to control the activities of the ports and also regulate the work of the shipping lines properly. Some of our laws were not helping in controlling those issues, but thank God, Cabinet has approved of the amendments, and when Parliament reconvenes, it will be laid in Parliament. That will give the Ghana Shippers Authority the power to be able to regulate and also fix charges. I remember that when that happens, they will have the authority to be able to bring down cost of doing business at the port and also run the port effectively. All the terminals are under the Shippers Authority, and when their law is amended, the 683, when it is amended, the Act 683, it will be able to give them the necessary controlling powers to be able to regulate.
Let's deal with something controversial. Road accidents claimed 2,000 lives between January and August 2025. Now, when we do a breakdown of road crashes, a significant proportion of that involves motorbikes, particularly in the urban areas. Now, you promised in opposition that you will legalize Okada, and it seems to me as if your government is taking steps to do this. A lot of people feel that that's very misguided, that road safety is already a problem. Why do you want to compound it by legalizing the commercial use of motorbikes in a country with such a poor road safety culture?
Bernard, I don't see it in that form. I see the operationalization of Okada, in quotes, as the last mile's journey. Whether you travel by air, by sea, or road, you end up at a terminal or a station, or you end up at a proper road, but you will need to move to your home. And so the last mile's journey is the Okada we are talking about. I feel that because they are not regulated, we are unable to discipline them. And so if you check properly at traffic lights or joints where the police and other people are, when they get there, for fear of being arrested, they will not stop. They will want to maneuver their way and get out. And I think that if we operationalize their duties, we will now have the right opportunity to regulate or to monitor, to educate them, and also to follow their activities. And to support this, when I was going to Rwanda to look at their system when it comes to the three-wheel usage, I went with some of their people. And I must say that they tend to be ambassadors talking to their colleagues, even though the law is not yet amended. Gracefully, the Cabinet has approved for us to lay it in Parliament when Parliament reconvenes. And I believe that within the by end of year, when we have the road traffic regulations bill amended, it will help us to bring discipline.
Can you tell us what some of the things will contain? You mentioned Rwanda. I haven't been to Rwanda, but friends who have been there say to me, all Okada riders are branded in bright clothes. You can recognize the way they are branded. The way they ride a motorbike is not like the way they ride it here. I mean, in Ghana, people wear singlets. They are riding Okada. They are not properly dressed. They don't wear helmets. I was in Togo. I didn't see one motorbike rider without a helmet. So you went to Rwanda with them. That's nice. But what can you say you will insist on to ensure that, because the way people ride motorbike in Ghana is completely irresponsible. So are you going to put them in a training school? Are you going to reorient them? How are you going to ensure that they ride the motorbike in a way that will not kill our people now that you are going to legalize them?
Bernard, the in discipline on our roads is not only from the motorbike riders, even our drivers themselves. And we need a serious education and campaign to ensure that we bring people to order. Now, I see the Okada issues just as at a point where they are not regulated, and that is the cause of this. When they are regulated, they will know what they are supposed to do. And it comes in a full package. All our DVLA officers will have space to test and then ensure that before you are given a license, you will have the needed requirement and the tools to use. You must have element, you have to be in a protective gear. Your everything is inspected before you are given that license. We are not just legalizing the operation and everybody who has a motorbike will jump on the road. You have to go through the processes before you be licensed by the DVLA to be able to operate or to operate as a rider that will take passengers and collect fare from them.
Will there be training? Will there be licensing in a different form? Or we are assuming that anybody who has a motorbike who's already riding it should be just registered? Because the concern is about usually when people have accidents on Okadas, you go to our hospitals. If you go to the emergency centers, you will see a lot of the casualties are Okada related. Cars don't respect them, so sometimes the cars crash into them. Sometimes they don't see them in the median between the two roads. So it's a very serious problem. It's for me, my worry is, fine, you're talking about education, but are you going to have a specific type of orientation for Okada riders before you start this, or as part of the regulation process?
Bernard, we are going to put them under unions. And whilst you are getting your license to operate, you should belong to a union. And the union will have a specific role to play in helping DVLA to train you and give certification to you that no, at this point, you are qualified to sit on a motorbike and carry a passenger. It is not just going to be like any ordinary licensed motor rider, but you are going to be licensed as a rider to take passengers. And so it comes in with a lot of package training, being part of a particular union, and again, the bike you are using, it has to be a roadworthy motorbike to be able to fit on our
my
roads.
colleague has a question for you.
Yes, I'll stick with the unions, Honorable. Is it a situation that is it that the state has completely washed its hands off public transport and left it to the unions to dictate what it should be? Or you have a plan that you implement through the unions at the moment?
I'm not sure I indicated that we are going to wash our hands and leave it to unions. Just like we have with the commercial drivers. They all belong to unions. But we still work in line with them, in collaboration with them, to ensure that they render quality services to our people. And what I said was that we are going to have unions that every bike rider will belong to.
I'm not even talking about just the riders, I'm just talking about general transport.
The general transport, yes.
Please.
Already we have transport unions. They also help to discipline their members. So you must belong to a union. The union will be able to say that, okay, we have A, B, C, D who belongs to our union, and that we also have these rules. But as a government or as the Ministry of Transport, our responsibility is to ensure that we have that kind of discipline and business-minded operators. Whether you are a driver, whether you are an Okada rider to be, we have the responsibility to ensure that you render quality services to our people.
But if you look at the current state of public transport, particularly at peak hours, morning and evening, before work and after work, it is very frustrating for most users. Does that not indicate to you perhaps that just leaving it so far for the unions to dictate how we move around the city or our cities has not worked the way perhaps it should?
I agree with you to some extent, especially the frustration our passengers get on daily basis when they use the public means. As a state, we have also to look at our own, that is the Metro Mass Transit Limited, the STC, and also the Ayalolo services. We have to improve upon them and ensure that they also come in as a supplement or a complement to what the private sector is doing. Mind you that government cannot take everything on its shoulders to run. So we need that kind of mix of the private sector and government to be able to serve our people. And so over the years, you see that Metro Mass that is supposed to run within the inner cities and then connect to the rural areas, they've been run down and their fleet is no more that strong to be able to cope up with the volumes, passenger volumes. So definitely you need the private sector to support our services. STC that used to be that viable, today they don't have the needed buses, and we are working to see how we can improve upon their fleets and get them some buses to be able to run effectively. That will give us the space to be able to deal with the private sector that is coming in but not performing as to expectation.
I think the point he's making is that the private sector is not giving us the good service. Let me give you an example. Trotros, a lot of trotros on the road have no business being on the road. Somebody goes to Germany to import a used van. He takes out the seats, puts some angle bars there, and then creates a new set of seats. No seat belts, nothing. Puts people on the road. Every year he gets renewal for that car. It's smoking all over. A lot of the trotros are not fit for purpose. But the unions have no interest in making sure that the trotro is regulated properly, safe. Now, so I think the question is, why isn't government regulating public transport operated by private people in a way that will ensure satisfaction for the customer? That's the question he's trying to pull out.
Thank you.
Bernard, that has to be looked at holistically. For instance, vehicles that are not roadworthy should not be found on our roads. Must you blame that on the private sector alone?
It's the regulator.
The regulator. And as a government, we will need to sit up in the areas of getting out rickety vehicles or maybe on road vehicles that are not roadworthy out of our roads. I have had conversation with DVLA that any vehicle that is not inspected properly should not be given any roadworthiness. But it goes beyond DVLA. If a vehicle that is not roadworthy is found on our roads, the police should come in and be able to take out that vehicle. We realize that those days we have what we call the Go Rogue Boys, who will work to get you a roadworthiness certificate without the vehicle visiting the facility to be tested. And that is why we are opening more DVLA offices to create the space or create the environment for road users to be able, or truck owners to be able to get quick service. So you will not need to pass through anybody. And DVLA should not also give any roadworthiness to any vehicle when they have not seen it. And if they have seen it and it is not roadworthy, it should not be given any certificate to operate on our road. And again, the unions, I have had engagements with them, and they were to have a regional conference where we will still have these conversations with them. It was just postponed for some reasons, but it will come on. And these are some of the issues we are going to put to them too. That look, you also have a role to help serve your people, your customers. That is your business. The road is where you earn your livelihood. And if your vehicle is not roadworthy, it is for you to fix it, or you dispose of it and get a better means. But we should take it up as a government to bring in more vehicles to support the Metro Mass Transit Limited, to be able to serve our people. Because if they have the alternative of quality vehicle or good vehicles on our roads, they will not go and enter any rickety vehicle.
But why do you need to bring vehicles? In certain countries, for example, there's private companies that do Accra to Kumasi. I don't know what the name of the company is. They are not
Quite a few.
They are not publicly owned, but they are well efficiently run. So I think that the point is, government always says, well, we will bring in buses for Metro Mass. We'll bring in buses for Ayalulu. A lot of that is embroiled in procurement challenges. I think why can't government say These are the rules for running a bus system.
Service.
If you don't have these, we will disqualify you, we will fine you or sanction you. But private people can run the system profitably, because once you make it government, people become lazy. You know that. I mean, when somebody is working for government, usually it's not the same as when a private person is running it. So I think the government always try to conflict issues as, okay, GPRTU and unions, do your thing. We'll also bring buses to complement. Set the rules, give us standards, and enforce the standards. I think that's what we're asking for.
Bernard, not necessarily. You have to create that alternative for travelers or passengers to choose from. And so if government is able to bring in more buses and they render quality services, I'm not sure anybody right thinking will go and enter any vehicle that is not roadworthy. That is why I was just stretching that we also have a part, a role to play to ensure that we have that alternative for our road users. However, some of the private-owned vehicles or companies are doing well too. They are doing well. It's just that a few of them are in the system that needs to be flushed out. And that is why I was saying that, from my point, DVLA will not issue any roadworthiness to any vehicle that is not roadworthy. I'm also urging the police to also ensure that, look, I can bet to say that most of the vehicles have no roadworthiness.
And yet they're on the roads.
They are on the roads. This is something that we have to all figure out and get those vehicles out of the road. By so doing, I also stated that we will need to create the space and entice them to go to all the DVLA testing stations to see the vehicle and test them before you give. And so we are opening more offices. We are creating the opportunity for them to, for instance, the Adenta branch. It is running 24. So Bernard can close from work at any time and rush to Adenta. You have your vehicle, it is tested. If it is roadworthy, they will give you the roadworthiness to be able to operate. But we will have to encourage the police to ensure that they help us remove all those vehicles that have no roadworthiness or they don't have business to be on our roads, out of the roads. And again, if you are a transport union, you also need to protect your space. Encourage your people to always maintain their vehicles, to ensure that their vehicles are working, and you will be able to serve the people. But another area of interest is this Road Traffic Act that Cabinet has graciously approved for me to lay in Parliament to convene.
Okay.
We are looking at legislation to help us fight these issues. That act will give the National Road Safety Authority the powers to be able to get out some of these vehicles.
All right.
If you look at the rate of our accidents, Bernard, about 22% of the accidents are caused by broken down vehicles on the road.
So do you have a plan to tow broken down vehicles?
Definitely. The Act permits that any vehicle owner will have to register with an insurance company, or you will have to register with a towing company of your choice.
Do we have towing companies with the capacity to move vehicles? Because the problem, you see, this when you leave it to the car, again, I'm not an expert, but I feel like if a vehicle is abandoned on the road, the state must be able to tow it and charge the person for leaving the vehicle.
I'm getting to that. First, you should register with an insurance company or a towing company. If it is within the city and your vehicle is broken down, within a matter of 30 minutes, they should be able to get it out.
Okay.
If after 30 minutes it is not up, we are working with, we are seeing how we work with the private sector and create some of the towing companies working for National Road Safety Authority. After 30 minutes, if your vehicle is still found on the road, they will take it out of the road for you and surcharge you.
Correct.
So we are putting that at the back of you choosing your towing company.
So you have the first option.
You have
to
the first
choose an
option.
insurance and towing.
Yes.
Then if
you fail 30 minutes, then National Road Safety will come with their towing company, take it out and surcharge you. If it is on the highways, it is for an hour. If your vehicle breaks down on the highway.
But Accra to motorway, if you leave a vehicle for an hour, the whole Accra will come to a standstill. I mean, if you look at, I mean, again, the UK is an advanced country, but sometimes it's in minutes when you are driving and something happens on the highway. there's even a phone number to call, and in minutes somebody appears. So for
so
1 hour on the highway, there's a lot of time.
So the 1 hour, it is for National Road Safety to identify that this vehicle has been there for long and it needs to be taken out. But your responsibility is that you get your vehicle out as quick as you can.
Through your
that
preferred
is why
towing company in 30 minutes.
In 30 minutes or 1 hour if it's on highway.
So when you bring the private, are you going to give to one company or many companies? Because I think this thing came up in a previous administration. The reason the public kicked against was that one company was to become the only private sector partner to do all the towing. And people didn't like it.
No, that is why I told you that you will register with an insurance company or a towing company of your choice.
Fair enough. I'm saying that the partner
Now,
that the partner that road safety will have, would it be open, or it will be one company which is partnering all for all the vehicles?
It's an open activity we want to engage, but we cannot engage every company, towing company that will come. So we will have one company at every areas, assuming Accra, Kumasi, Tamale, other areas. You should have towing companies. You can't pick a towing company in Accra to render services in Kumasi or Tamale.
No problem.
So definitely it will not be one, but we will have many of them to be able to.
All right.
All right, Honorable, I'd like to ask you about transport fares and the regulation of transport fares. Often when fuel prices go up, we hear that transport fares are also going to segue and be increased. And this is a point of dispute where people disagree with the transport unions, the percentages. Is there going to be any kind of regulation with regards to transport fares and any cushions for travelers?
There's already an arrangement, an administrative arrangement that was done in 2015. Before transport fares will either be increased or decreased, there should be that kind of engagement with the ministry and the transport unions. And I must say that the transport unions have so far supported me in doing this or discharging this duty. You remember in May, we had a negotiation and agreed on a 15% reduction in transport fares. That has been the highest ever since 2015 the administrative arrangement was made. And so I must say that I'm grateful to the transport union for that support. Now, if you look at how our prices change, the administrative arrangement allows it to accumulate to over 20 or 24% cumulative before you can think of either increasing or decreasing. So the time we went for the negotiation for reduction, but then it has reduced over 23%. That is fuel prices. Those were the basis I took to them to do this negotiation. So if it comes the reverse, they will also have to wait till we get to about 24% of increment before they can come. And you remember some few days ago, one of the unions came up that they wanted to increase transport fares. And their own other sister unions kicked against it in support of government that no, we have not seen that increase in fuel prices to the level that we can pass on to passengers. So we have an administrative arrangement that is helping us to fix public transport fares.
But going forward, how binding is it? Because the example you cite, where one group decides to deviate from it, we will not always have a situation where the rest will maybe be on the side of government.
This arrangement binds all of us, government and then the unions. And it wasn't something that was imposed on them. We believe to jojo with our unions, to have a conversation with our unions. And that is one of the areas that will help you to be able to maintain or otherwise. But if there is need to look at a legislation, but sometimes it is not always having a rigid law or a regulation to moderate issues. There should be that kind of good relationship between government and the unions.
Okay.
And like I said, they were supposed to have a regional conference which was shifted for a different date. And these are the areas that we sit with them, we discuss with them, and agree on issues. But for now, I'm enjoying their support, and they have not deviated from that.
Let me just announce. It's 7 minutes past 9. We're speaking to Minister for Transport, Joseph Bukari and Nikpe. We're discussing many issues. We'll also be talking about the upcoming Ghana Transport and Logistics Fair, which the ministry is spearheading. He will tell us a bit more about that. We are getting lots of questions. Some people want to know when you are going to establish a domestic airline because they feel we need more options. There are questions about why we will not start with the cargo. So, for example, this is a question from our correspondent in the Western region who knows quite a bit about rail transport in that region. And his question for me is that, Minister, public transport is generally subsidized, and we are aware that fares you are charging are also subsidized. Hence, the fares you are collecting wouldn't be enough to pay for the parts and maintenance of the rail. So how do you hope to get the funds to pay for maintenance when the new coaches start breaking down? Don't you think the railway haulage lines must first be reactivated to raise the needed funds to subsidize passenger lines? So his point is, start with cargo. The companies will pay. When you have enough money, then you go to passenger, because the passengers don't really pay the real amount. But it seems like we are putting the cart before the horse. We want to do passenger first and cargo later. And this is both Western and then Eastern corridor. This is the question he's asking.
Bernard, it goes in hand. Passenger is important as the cargo. But cargo will bring you more money because of the volumes you are going to charge high. However, for instance, the Tema and Pakadan, I have directed that a cabin be reserved for only cargo and other cabins for passenger. We have a system where our roads are so choked. The economic aspect of it should be looked at. What is it that we can do to get our workers to workplaces on time? Even though we need money to service the rail system, we also need to move our people to connect them. And so we had a problem with the Tama-Accra rail line because one of the bridges that the rail line passes over had this erosion and it was hanging. We have almost finished work on it, and very soon we will resume Tema and Accra. So if you are coming from, say, in Pakadan, you are coming from Dewenya, and you want to get to Tema or Accra, yours is to join the Tema and Pakadan to the port, and from the port you join the Accra line. It is not only passengers, it carries cargo as well, but the volumes are too small. It is the Western region or the Western rail line that when we are able to operationalize, it will be able to carry heavy cargo. That is where we have the diamond, the manganese, the bauxite and other minerals that we have in that enclave. I have told you that we are working with the contractors, and Amandi, let me mention, has agreed and returned to site, and currently they are working. Ours is to see how we can sustain them to be able to finish their portion to Awasu from Takrade. And I agree with him. We will need that kind of mixed cargo and passengers. But for now, the passenger seems heavy because of the Tema and Pakadan line, where you find the ports and all port workers live along the Dawunya areas. We also need to improve efficiency in our port and also help clear our goods on time. So getting the workers to the port is also important. However, we have created space on that same train to be able to carry
Are you working to get a domestic airline or a domestic carrier?
Yes.
State carrier of some kind?
Yes. His Excellency the President has that desire and interest in re-establishing a national carrier to fly the flag of Ghana. And his directives made me establish a 13-member committee. They have come out with an inception report, and an interim report is expected that will show us the model, the business idea or the business model to use. And conversations are far advanced. They've received a lot of proposals from the private sector, and I must say that the interest to establish a national airline is alive, and we are working hard to ensure that in the near future, Ghana should be seen flying its own air carrier.
It's a lot of questions. Bernard, I believe the minister can answer this question. Ghana's strategic location makes our port critical not only for domestic trade but also for serving landlocked countries. Successive governments have announced plans for the inland port in Bukari near Kumasi to improve efficiency, yet the project has remained a moving target for years. Compounding the delays, there is still no real connection from our main port to the proposed inland port site, leaving our routes, especially those linking the Ashanti region and beyond, under severe pressure and deterioration from heavy cargo traffic. What is his vision and concrete strategy to make this inland port project a reality, and how does the government intend to integrate rail infrastructure into the plan to ensure it is long-term viable? This is a long one from Kofi. I don't know if you can address that in a brief comment.
The inland port at Bonkra has been on the drawing board for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And when we took over, what we did is to open up. Even yesterday, Professor Jampo was in my office, and that was one of the discussions we had.
Mm-hmm.
They have received interest from some private sector participation,
Mm-hmm.
and we are looking forward to see how we can look at the model they are coming in, the business strategy they are coming in, and the amount of money they will have for us to be able to complete that port. And the Western Rail is targeting the Bonkra. However, for now, if it is completed, work is ongoing, even though at a very low space. The work is ongoing. We are anticipating that if it is completed, it will be for cargo for the meantime, whilst we look at connecting the rail to the terminal in the near future.
Can you, as a minister, whether is aware of the mass and almost total removal of the Accra and Sawan rail line? What are his plans for the route, taking into consideration the heavy traffic and bedding on the road? This is Michael Hovo in Ajen Kotoku.
That is a difficult point for we in the Ministry of Transport and the Ghana Railway Development Authority. Some of our citizens and workers, under the cover of darkness, go to remove our rail lines. A month ago, I established a 3-member committee. The committee is to go around and remove all the obsolete rail tracks that are no more in use. And then we are moving from the single rail line to a double gauge rail line. So if you look at the Teman Pakadan, it is no more the single gauge or the narrow gauge that we operate. And so for now, we will have to invest in the rail sector to create a rail system that will be fit for purpose. But we are aware of that kind of vandalism on our rail property, and the committee is going around to remove everything so that government will have custody of our rail tracks. We have engaged the national security to patrol and ensure that they will protect some of these rail lines that we still have that are not usable.
While we speak, you are organizing a National Logistics and Transport Fair. Is that what it is? And is that a ministry event or somebody's inviting a ministry? Just talk to me a bit about that.
Well, Bernard, the Ministry of Transport under the leadership of His Excellency the President, we feel that we have gotten to a point we have to showcase what the ministry, and for that matter, the transport sector of Ghana has. We are always telling the negative stories. It is time that we put the positives. And so we are organizing the Transport and Logistics Fair to be able to showcase what all our agencies or all the modes will have, and also bring about what kind of investment we have for the private sector and other investors to invest in our transport sector.
So when is this happening, and who is the special guest? What are some of the details of that?
It will take place from the 22nd to 24th of this month, and it is our hope that the gentleman of the land will grace the occasion for us. However, it is not yet confirmed, but we are praying and working hard to ensure that we will get him to address or to be part of the fair.
Is it an investment fair? Are you looking for money? Because everything you want to do requires money, whether it's the rail sector development, whether it's the water sector, whether it's even the buses you need to purchase. This is a capital intensive industry. So just me understand, is this fair to attract investors or to showcase? Because I'm not sure there's a lot to showcase, honestly. If you want to talk about transport, we have a lot of problems to solve. So I'm not sure you have anything to tell people that you are doing that people need to come and see, unless it's to show the opportunities that the problems have for people to come and invest in. So please help me
there are
there.
a lot of positives.
Really?
And I know City FM will be there.
Oh, definitely. we are always there. And we'll be there.
You will be able to help us to tell the story that we have made so far. Bernard, if you get to Temaport today, the MPS is one of the best terminals you can find in West Africa sub-region. It's a positive.
Yeah.
Our port, over the years, the depth was not that kind of deep enough to be able to allow bigger vessels to call on our ports. We are dredging it to allow big vessels to come.
Okay.
It's a positive.
I see.
Now, if you go to DVLA, where over the years driver license cards were in essence close to 300,000, not printed, not delivered, and today we have had them all cleared to their owners. It's a positive. If you have a situation where people had to go and sit in long queues to be able to renew their license, to be able to get whatever business they have in DVLA offices. And today, you take a trip to our offices and you see that people are served on time, people are served in comfort, and that we have brought services to the doorsteps of everybody. It's a positive. Now, if you, again, talk of the other side, the investment opportunities. Maybe you have money. You do not know what opportunities that lie in any of the agencies or any of the modes. This is an opportunity for you to get to know where you can come and invest in our transport sector. So there are a lot of positives, there are a lot of business opportunities, and there are a lot of issues for us, a dialogue session for us to see how we can improve upon our connectivity.
Just a final two questions from you, Honorable. Is there a conversation between your ministry and, say, roads and highways when it comes to road design? So are roads designed with the vision of the transport ministry in mind, or the roads ministry is building its roads and you're also designing your transport plan? Is there a link?
Particularly because of the lack of roads for BRT. Because you know, just to embellish the question, we brought so-called buses for bus rapid transit, and the way we designed the road didn't create space for any bus rapid transit.
Bernard, that is a good question to ask. The Ministry of Transport is responsible for the crafts on the road.
And how we move.
Now, the Ministry of Roads and Highways is responsible to design and construct roads. Now, over the years, bringing in BRT, we didn't have enough infrastructure to accommodate them, like separate lanes or maybe terminals to be able to facilitate their movement. But BRT is not totally gone. That is why we now see as Ayalolo. It is working. It's just that we need to improve upon. The Ministry of Transport and Roads, we work together. It is just that what we are now doing, it will take time for you to see how the linkage between transport and roads is now bringing out the quality of service we desire or we want. And so we work together.
Okay, and just a final one, just for my own personal knowledge. Does your ministry have the power to determine, say, this kind of car cannot pass here at this time? Or because I've been in places where as soon as you enter a certain part of the road, you see a huge sign that tells you no motorbikes allowed here, no cars of a certain weight allowed on this road. There are certain parts, places I've lived on, all in this continent, where you'll be told that between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m., when workers are moving, cargo trucks should not move in certain parts of the city. Are those things that your ministry is empowered to do, or that is in a different remit?
Definitely, yes. It is under our domain. For instance, we are looking at how we will, Bernard is against this, we will retool the Metro Mass and the STC to have enough fleet
Oh, I'm not against it,
to be able to
Give us
serve
more.
I'm not against it.
to be able to serve the people. Now, we are going to do this with the mind that if we can serve the inner cities, we'll have a termination point. Assuming you are coming from Accra, we can have a terminal after Dodowa, after Nsawan. That all vehicles that at certain times will create congestion on our roads will terminate at this point. Then the metro mass and other like Uber, taxis, and other vehicles that are road worthy will also now continue into the inner city. That is under our domain. However,
There's a however.
yes, yes. However, we are a country that is yet developing. And these are the areas that we need to work so that within the nearby future, you'll be able to see progress in our activities. It comes with a lot of expenditure and a lot of time.
But this one,
we
speed it
know,
up. This one, I
we,
beg
we
you.
know
Speed it.
that our people deserve better, and we should be able to serve them in that form.
Yeah.
It is under the Ministry of Transport domain, and we are working hard to ensure that should we be able to get the needed fleet for those metro mass transit, we will soon implement on satellite basis for Ghanaians. It will be backed by education, so that if you come with your vehicle at a point that will tell you cannot enter the inner perimeters of the city, you should understand that we are only preventing traffic jams in the city, and at a point you can be allowed to come in.
There's one from an Uber driver. Bernard, good morning. Ask this for us. App operators, this is the Uber, the Bolt and Co., are overcharging us, the drivers. We pay close to 28 to 30% service fee per trip, working under laborious terms and conditions, treating drivers unfairly. We spend lots of hours behind the wheel before getting something home. Drivers are always stressed. The fleet operators are also overcharging drivers. I don't know if this has brought to your attention. Is this something you've heard about before?
Not.
These are Uber, Bolt, and this type of company drivers.
This has not come to my notice, but what we have realized over the years is how people treat drivers and other operators in a way that is not business friendly. These are private companies that have their own way of doing this. What we will encourage them to do is for them to constantly engage us on issues that affects their operations or their activities on daily basis, so that we'll be able to engage the mother company. For instance, if Uber drivers are able to reach out to us with their complaints, we'll be able to engage the leadership of Uber and find a way of assisting to address them. And so I will encourage that they should see the Ministry of Transport as their sector ministry and always engage us in some of these difficult issues that confront them.
Final question on water transport. What's your plan for water transport? The Volta Transport Company, I don't know if it's functional. Would you privatize it? What's the way to go? Because we have, by surface area, probably the largest man-made lake in the world. I'm not even sure we are using that for transportation 10% of its potential. It's a disgrace, right? You are all these cars on the Kumasi Road stack. And yet the water connects us all the way down south to the north. Clearly we are underutilizing it. I don't know if inland water is a priority for you. Is there something you've put in place to attract investment into it?
It is one of our priority areas, and I must say that the president has it dear to his heart. We have gotten clearance to do feasibility studies right down from Mpakadam through to Bupe. Already we have our barges serving and working there, but we will need to retool them. We need to bring in new barges to be able to run. Like you said, we are not operating at full capacity. So we've just gotten approval to do feasibility studies on the potentials of our coastal and inland water transport. And we are going to select a contractor very soon. By close of year and early next year, we should have that feasibility report, and that will be able to position us to engage the private sector and any other business developers who will want to invest in the coastal and inland water transport. It is one of the areas we think that if properly developed, it will help take the traffic from our major routes, especially the coastal towns. The coastal towns. If you look from Aflawu right down to Accra, Accra right down to Takoradi, the congestion is so huge on those stretches. And so we believe that when the studies are finished, now that we have gotten the clearance, we will select a contractor and we'll be able to have a package that will help to engage the private sector in the coastal and inland water transport.
Well, we have more questions to ask, but time is of the essence. So we will leave it here and hope to have you back soon for more updates on this. But at least you've said to us that the new Road Traffic Act is being put in place. Do you have a timeline for when the law will be passed?
That lies under the powers of Parliament. When Parliament reconvenes, it will be one of the... I have a lot of them. And I will rush to Parliament anytime Parliament reconvenes to lay those...
So the new Road Traffic Act will be in Parliament at the next sitting, I see. Because that's what people are asking for, whether it deals with the towing, the insurance and all those issues, whether it's child-friendly, disability-friendly and all that.
Yes. It creates space for the involvement of women, people with disability in the transport sector. You know, most of our vehicles do not have those platforms to allow people with disabilities to board. So it gives space for us to be able to enforce that any public means should create that kind of ramp for people with disability to be able to...
It would be nice to see the law so we can read it for ourselves. So if there's a version that's possible for media to read, or it has to go through Parliament first, we don't know.
The moment it is laid in Parliament, it becomes a public document.
Wonderful. So you are assuring us that when you go to Parliament next time, it's going to be laid?
Definitely.
All right. Because of time, we have to leave it here. Thank you very much, Honorable Joseph Bukari Nikpe, Minister for Transport and MP for Saboba. We apologize. There's a lot of you sending comments. We've had a technical problem with our WhatsApp number. So we've not been able to receive those comments. So the ones we read are the ones that came through to some of our personal numbers. So we really apologize for this.
When we get them, we'll send them to the minister.
Yes, we'll forward them to him. He may have to come back at a different time. I'm sure his people want to talk about the conference as well. So maybe you an opportunity provided. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Coming up next, a lot of
Citizen TV, Accra, Ghana. Citizen TV, the citizen's power.